Okay, we're on the air.
Before you start, Correa asked a question about doing his DS11 form, if he should sign it a specific way, last name first, given name, and then first name, or just Mr. blah, blah, blah. That's all.
Well, I'm seeing that most of the time Patrick signs it as, now the new stuff is Master Baylor. But yeah, on his two new documents, it's not that way. The fax, I believe, was just authorized representative. So.
Well, you mean after the name, authorized representative, or just?
Well, let me look at the one here.
Yeah, I'm also looking. He says on line 17, do we fill out line 17 for permanent address?
Well, I'm looking at the fax surrender U.S. citizen passport to IT court.
All right.
Okay, it's Patrick. I'm on the line now.
Hi, Patrick. Yes. They're asking about the different ways that you're signing these documents.
Okay. However you want to sign it, it's up to you. Okay.
Right.
You can sign it as Lucy, Lucille Ball. I don't care. Okay. You're signing a document. How do you do it at the bank, okay? How do you sign an account? You set an account up with a certain name, then you sign that name. Okay? Now, if you want to put Mr. or Mrs. in front of it, yes, you can do that. No problem with that. That's just giving you, like, doctor or PhD or whatever you want to do, okay? That's a writer. But they don't have that on the form to put those things in because they don't give a shit whether you're a doctor or a quack or what.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, there is a key thing about this whole process. And basically, I posted up there to a couple people today. I didn't know whether you were going to be on or not tonight, Tom, so I didn't send it to you.
Yeah, I got back about an hour and a half ago, and Gita sent me the files, and I've already posted them. Yeah.
And basically, it was the one item from my 1985 passport. Okay, I highlighted 3 items on there.
Yep.
Okay. One of them, at the very beginning, it says that this is the property of the United States government. Well, the property is the paper. Because later on it goes on down in there. And it has, let's see, I'm trying to find where I've got it. It goes on and says your item. It says, let me see, your passport is a valuable citizenship and identity document. Well, if it's valuable, that means there has to have value to that. And basically, they keep referring to citizenship. Well, basically, we know that they came out with the Shipping Act in 1920 and also set up the Title 46, the Shipping Act. Okay? And that is where they've identified our cargo. Now, when you had your certificate of live birth registered, it's like going down to the bank and setting up a passbook savings account. Okay? That's the application. So they've got the account set up. Now, the passport is the signature card for that account. If you don't give them the signature card for that account, you've got the application, they've already got the account number and everything set there, but it's just sitting there. You haven't claimed it. So the very first thing you have to do is get a U.S. citizen passport in, claim that, then you turn around and do another, the DS-5504 form, and change that out from being a U.S. citizen passport to a non-citizen national. But the passbook savings account has been sitting there. Nobody has claimed it if they have not gotten a U.S. citizen passport first. Does that make sense to you people?
Yes, very much so.
So it's like a stepping stone. You do the regular one, and then you do the national.
Yes, you have to have done your claiming first. Okay? Then you kill the citizen. Okay? And then you resurrect in the other side. It's a three-pronged deal. Okay? But you have to claim it first. So if you've never had a passport, you have to first get a citizen passport, claim it as yours, and then you do your expatriation away from the system. Okay, any questions on that? Any comments?
Looks pretty clear.
Yeah, Packy, my question is, so if I've never had a passport, I have to get a passport and then do the 5509, DS-5509 after I do the 211?
You have to first do the DS-11, get a passport, okay? Don't argue with them, whatever. You basically fill that out, get the the U.S. citizen passport, then you turn around and you do the DS-5504 form. You do your affidavit and supply all your other pertinent information. Then you send that one in. See, now you don't have to sit and argue with these people. You just send it into Philadelphia. But you first have to claim your passbook savings account or passbook account at the Federal Treasury. If you don't claim it, then basically you're not going to get anything.
Hey, Patrick, the noise in the background's building up again from the people or one person who has everything on speakerphone. So I'm going to mute everybody out, and then you can come back in. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you.
And then basically also, when you have that, okay, you can turn around and do a federal citizenship bill of exchange. You have, after you've got your passport, now you have your account number, okay? Then you can either use your bank routing number as your Social Security, or I would strongly recommend that you do the get the estate EIN, kill the fiction, then you can basically use the bill of exchange with the bank routing number as your EIN, estate EIN. I sent one of those into that Court of International Trade, along with my other documents. I faxed one item in about the passport. Here, I'm surrendering this passport, and I've crucified it. And I said, did I have that in with the National Passport Processing Center? My original's there. So now they should be able to terminate that damn account. But I sent a bill of exchange in there because I'd requested, did a relief motion in there for $250,000. So I gave them a bill of exchange to cover that using my passport and my estate EIN number. So you can take those items that I had up there before and modify them.
So the passport is the routing number and the estate EIN is the account number.
No.
Okay. Wrong.
Yes, wrong, Tom. I told last night and tonight both. I told you the passport number is the account number. The Social Security number or the estate EIN is the routing number. Bank routing number.
Hey, Patrick, I have a question.
Look at your checks, okay? The bank routing number normally has 3 groupings in it.
Yes.
A dash in between the 3 of them, okay? What is the Social Security number? It's got 3 groupings, 2 dashes. Your account number at the bank. How many dashes does it have in it? Most cases, none. The number on the passport has no dashes in it. 9 digits. This is all about banking. Like I said last night, you just have to think about this as being a standard run-of-the-mill commercial banking system. You go in, you fill out an application. Well, you better give them to put money in, you better give them the signature card so that you can access that money. Because without the signature card, you're not going to be able to access that money. And that's what the passport is all about. It is basically the signature card for that passbook account. The instruments are normally the Social Security or the certificate of live birth, really, or the military DD-214. The Social Security is normally just a bank routing number, just like the estate EIN number. And then, after you've got that, then you turn around and you correct it and come out of the system as a non-citizen national over the age of 25 or over the age of 21. Should have been able to do this when you turned 21. That's really what needed to be done. You surrender the one, kill him off, execute him, and then resurrect back into the living world as a non-citizen national. At least that's the way I see it. Now it's up to you guys, okay? Open up the questions, whatever. Anybody wants a comment, *6. I'm done talking.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
I was looking at my old passport, and it has the number they give you, and then the new passport has a different number, above your name and stuff. But on the back, the last page has a barcode with a totally different 9-digit number. Does that mean anything? The front has your picture with all your ID profile, and it has the passport number. And then on the last page, it has a barcode with another set of 9 numbers.
I don't know what that is. Okay.
Yeah, I got it in 2006 here in California. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just go with the passport, the 9-digit number, and basically you're going to surrender that one and do your affidavit and your other supporting documents that you are of age and that you have terminated under the EIN number, and you've killed that citizen off, and now you want to resurrect as a non-citizen national.
Right. Okay. Just checking.
Okay. Anybody else?
Patrick, the passport example that you put on the site with the about the passport I'm talking about. How do I get it?
How do you what? Get a passport?
The application, example of what you've done, giving the example to us to look at. So I went on there today and tried to download it, and I have a difficulty of downloading it and retrieving it.
Well, basically, I haven't put an example up there to fill out the DS-11 or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
That's just common sense, okay?
All right.
Okay, if you have any problem, go down and talk to one of those passport people and just get one, okay? Give them the information they need.
All right.
Normally, you can get that at the post office. The postmaster or whatever will help you fill out the form if you can't understand it by reading the instructions. But get a U.S. citizen passport first. Then the DS-11 should be able to handle that one. And basically, your problem is in page 2 of that, and download the one off the site, off the Secretary of State site, to get the DS-5504, so you got the correct form, 2013. And then listen to the audios. I said that you need to correct your identification. Well, your identification is also your status. It doesn't have whether on there, but you're going to line out U.S. citizen on that one and citizenship, because you want to come in now as a non-citizen national on the process and have your nationalship.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
Okay? If you have any other questions, ask the site. Don't be afraid to post messages on the message board. That's what the thing is all about. It's not just there for Tom to say, hey, we got a new file posted. It's for you guys to talk back and forth. Okay? Any
Right.
other questions?
No more questions? We're ready to go do this now?
Patrick?
Yeah.
Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall.
To answer Gita's question on the new passports that they issue, the regular one, the number is the same in the front as in the back. I just checked mine.
Okay.
That's
So to
too
answer
funny,
your-
Marshall. Marshall, I'm looking at mine right now, the
Yep.
one I got in 06, and the front, the first page has your picture, and then it says passport number. Mine starts with
Yep.
218, and then I look in the back, the last page, with the barcode, it starts with 154. So mine is different.
Right,
didn't
but
know.
the new one they are issuing now, the numbers are the same.
Okay, so this was an 06 when I got it. All right, cool, thanks.
Yeah, we just went and got ours on Monday and Tuesday. We went around and around with them, but we're
So you
working
got a-
with it.
You
That's
got a
good to
regular,
know.
a regular citizen one, U.S. citizen, right?
Right. They wouldn't
Okay.
give me the other one. They give us the runaround, so we'll do the mailing in of it.
Right, that's what Patrick said. Do step 1 and then step 2. For
Right.
Chrome.
But I just wanted to answer your question on a new one. This is the way it is working on a new one.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, Steve Marshall got a sort of a hassle from them that, in a sense, they're doing their job correctly, okay? We were coming in there operating under the wrong presumptions. See, I'd already gotten a U.S. citizen passport out here. But if you've never had one first, you have to claim your account at the federal level and then move it out of there over into the national process. Because when your parents or whoever put that certificate of live birth in, okay, the certificate of live birth was just an application form. There had to be a vessel set up, and that was the citizenship to hold your cargo. And that basically is called your passbook account. Okay? Then you claim your cargo. Now you can execute it, turn that ship in, and get a bigger ship as a national ship. One that's protected by the nation instead of by the federal communist government. See, that's what back in Moses' time, okay? They killed off the calf, and then basically they gave everybody their inheritance. But Moses made them walk around the desert for about 40 years until they started getting their shit straight. Come on, people. You got any other questions? If not, I'm done.
Patrick, I'm going to also tell them when I was down there, since I didn't have a driver's license, they also have a list, and it was dated February 27th, 14, that they needed 5 or more additional items. So, like they wanted with photographed, valid or expired. So you could use driver's license that were expired. You could use school yearbooks, photos with your name and photo. Also the school and the name and the year on it that it was issued, so you'd have to maybe take your annual in, or a U.S. passport that was expired, newspapers, magazines, articles with your photo, name, newspaper print, and names and dates on it. Then they also had records of either photograph or signature, but it must have a date of employment, identification cards, professional license, etc., nurses, pilots, mechanics, etc., federal, state, or municipal ID cards, military identification, student identification cards. I also listed signed identification items like the GD-214, the Selective Service Registration Card, union membership bearing a name and signature or photograph, issuing date, medical or health, Medicare or health insurance cards, welfare cards, marriage certificates, medical record, voter registration card, children's birth certificates, Social Security cards, traffic tickets, and then they also went in, if you were raised abroad, foreign documents and stuff like a foreign passport, foreign school records, foreign driver's license, or foreign government issued. So if you don't have a current driver's license, they might give you a hassle on it. These were other items that I had to make another trip back to get to prove who I was.
Yeah, most all those documents that you listed are all dead documents, okay?
Right, but they were what?
Yeah, they're all showing you, basically, in their system, the two documents that they wouldn't accept. Tell them what they were.
They wouldn't accept my live birth record. And,
or your Bible entry.
Right.
Okay? They
wanted me to go
the living documents, so basically this is the dead world out here. Something that shows you are really alive, okay, like your hospital birth certificate with your feet on it, and it says right on there that basically that document can be used for passport, but it can only be used for a national passport, because that's in the living world. This other, in the federal system, is in the dead world, just like the Pledge of Allegiance. I want you guys to pull up the Pledge of Allegiance, and basically, I don't know where I gave that to you, post up on the site or not, out of Wikipedia, Tom, but it's got about 5 or 6 of the different transactions for the Pledge of Allegiance from the initial time when it started in 1892 to the present Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, you have the HTML.
And it makes it very obvious that you're making a dual pledge, one to the flag and then one to the Republic. And the very last one was they put under God. Well, if you know what God is, then you'll understand that this is a dead man's pledge. Because basically, under God is under your grounds of dominion. So it's the underworld pledging. I mean, they've made movies about this all over the place, about the vampires and about the living dead and all these other things. And, I mean, they've come out with a bunch of brand new ones about the Walking Dead and all these dead zombies and everything out here. I mean, come on, people, wake up. They're trying to show you all this.
What are the documents that, when you have a passport already with the SS-5504, you have that filled out, you mark through an initial. What other documents do you ask them to take the payment for? Do we have just write in, say, take my payment from my passport?
You write a cover letter to them addressing that this is a no-fee passport now. the government is obligated to basically give you a document for safe harbor and safe passage in the living world. Okay? If they have to have a fee, okay, they're being paid for their job by the tariff taxes in the country. Okay, the du jour government is. Now, if they need to have a fee, then they turn around and process one into the Secretary of State to cover those items for that department. That department is the one that's liable now to make the request to the Secretary of State to get the lawful payment from the tariff taxes before the tariff taxes are divided up and put into the We the People Treasury account. That's the way the government was supposed to function. Okay, any other questions here?
Kind of goes back to people have to know where they're standing right now, whether they have a passport or they don't have a passport, and it's different steps that you have to go through, so you need to know who you are.
At this point in time, yeah. And basically, you go into court. You're going. People know that you're going into a foreign jurisdiction. Okay? Everybody out here, all these gurus have talked about this. Well, they don't hear us. That's because you don't have your passport so that they can hear you. It's all about the banking instrument. If you go into a bank and you don't have your account number, the bank ain't going to listen to you.
Do you think we could get the court to stamp our passport?
You can either do that or the postmaster will, okay?
Yep.
That initial DS-11. After that, you don't need the court to do this. You send it into this National Passport Center with your affidavit. But you get the affidavit notarized, okay?
No, I mean if you went into court, like how you get stamped when you go into a foreign country, could you get them to stamp it somehow?
Yeah, well, you can give them a copy of your passport and say, here's a copy of my passport. And basically take all the charges off of this account.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only reason you're going in there to court is to settle a charge, right?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you give them the account to take the charges from. It's like you get an overdraft at the bank for your checking account. So what do? You walk into the bank and say, okay, here, take it out of my passbook savings account. Transfer the fund.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
That's what we were missing the whole time was basically people, and I've said this all along, is that people need to know how the monetary system really functions. And this banking federal process works no different than a regular bank. They're both commercial. They're both in the dead world. They're just one's using a bigger system than the other. But your funds are sitting there in the golden cap or in the CAFR accounts.
Do you need
You
to
just
use...
have to come in and chip away at that little calf, golden calf. Okay, go ahead.
Would you need to use a bill of exchange to tap into them then?
No, you can put a motion into the court. Basically, if you've given them your passport or the DD-24 on the Form 1096 or 1099 or 10A, B, or C, whatever form you want to do. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And we can use our existing passport until we get our bigger ship, right?
Yes, until you get your Form DS-5504 submitted in.
Okay.
You can basically utilize your previous passport.
All right.
Now, if you have an expired passport, okay, you may not want to be using it until. But I submitted one in using my, mine expired in 2000 and or 1995, and but I went ahead and put that number down as my account number because it has never been reinitiated under a new account number, so that account number should be still sitting there. Okay.
Mhm.
And
no, mine's not going to expire until July of this year, so it should still be good.
Yeah, and then basically in that meantime, you can turn around and settle something, but get that other one into the National Passport Center, and then also get your court case into the Federal Court of Trade,
and
tell them to and see all that damn court is basically an adjuster or an appraiser to appraise the account or adjust the account. That's what those 9 judges are all really about. They're the old customs house, and basically customs is basically the customs of the land or the mosaic custom guys in the temple. To adjust and basically cut away the fat and the bad stuff away from the calf and give you the good meat back. That was the metaphor they used back in Moses' time.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Hey, Patricia, when you sent in your 5504, did you send your original passport and kept copies of it?
Yeah.
I just kept copies of it and basically set the original passport back in.
Yeah,
that's what it tells you to do. Your most recent passport. Surrender it.
Yeah.
You surrender it, and basically you want to crucify it and come out the other side. Death, crucifixion, and resurrection. Jesus Christ tells us what to do, okay?
After we surrender the initial public passport, do we have an idea how it's going to change the looks of that passport when we become a non-citizen national?
Well, look at the passport you have presently. And basically it says United States of America in all capital letters on your identification page. What is missing?
The.
Okay? If you go to the Articles of Confederation, it said the name of the nation will be the United States of America. It didn't say United States of America because that's the copyrighted one that they set up in 1871. Prior to that time, everything that was in the books that was just United States okay, was referring to the government for the nation. And the government was basically a non-for-profit government out here. But the 1871 copyrighted United States of America became a for-profit government. And then under Wilson, basically in that time frame, they turned around and brought in the communist form of United States government.
Yeah, I wanted to spread the word too about another movie that I haven't heard brought up, but The Zeitgeist, the series The Zeitgeist. I'm kind of surprised I haven't heard that mentioned at all. It's a really good movie.
Okay, yeah. You guys need to sort of talk back and forth and get out here and start interfacing. There's a couple new people that have called and talked to me, and I told them, hey, get on here. One was a lady there today, and I told her, yeah, there's a couple other ladies on here, and I said, you girls need to talk back and forth because sometimes I just can't communicate everything on a female standpoint. Sometimes you girls need to talk over things yourselves.
You don't want to talk girly talk with us?
Yeah.
You have to tap into your feminine side.
Right.
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay, any other questions?
You've given us a lot to work on.
Yes. I know exactly what I need to do.
Well, the other thing I'm sitting here thinking about is if we go into court and we tell them to take their money out for their fee, we might as well put in a bill and tell them to give us our money then, too, for appearing.
Right. And see, that would be the appearance bond, okay?
Make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Makes you want to kind of take a trip abroad and get stranded.
No, I'm just saying in the part that we're in right now.
Yeah. That you have to have your
Turn the
passport.
tables on and say, okay, you want your money, I want my money too.
Yeah.
Let's
go, Marshall.
But you have to have your passport to be able to access that. Okay?
Yeah, I'm kind of
Your
in a...
citizenship passport to access that. Okay? That's the thing that we were missing.
Yeah.
Well, you got yours, Pat.
Yeah. And I just surrendered it into this other court and told them, hey, I'm crucifying this thing, settle the thing, I want out of your system. Then basically all these codes do not apply anymore to a non-citizen national. And you will have a completely different passport saying that you're above ground and you're not underground. Just like I said last night, the flag of the people was set up back at the time of Adam and Eve, when the snake was cast down out of the tree down to the ground. Because just like in the flag that has the snake on it, and then underneath it says, don't tread on me. That means the snake now has to be underneath us. The snake cannot be over us. So that's the We the People's flag of this country, not the red, white, and blue stripes. That's the government's flag. So stop swearing allegiance to the government. They're our public servants. We're not to be their servants. They have to swear an oath to support and defend us, not the other way around. And that's what the utopian socialists have perpetrated upon the people, is the turnabout to get you on the other side of the looking glass. Same thing with all the churches out there. They're all communist organizations anyway. That 90% of the people can't see that. That's why they keep going to the damn places, and basically all they're doing is just going to them to basically as a feel-good scenario, almost like going to a rock concert.
Patrick, do we want to talk to the group about the passport card?
Yeah, you can go ahead and talk to them about it.
That we're thinking that maybe that could be used as a driver's license or identification, because on the back of that, I got that also. It says valid for international land and sea travel between United States, Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Bermuda.
Well, but see, you got the U.S. citizen one, okay? So now, still as a U.S. citizen, you are required by certain states to have other citizenship documents, okay? So you're still under the codes of that state by having that U.S. citizenship passport, okay? So don't fight it. When you get your non-citizen national passport, then that card and passport would be able to be utilized as your the right to have no driver's license.
Right, but what I'm trying to indicate to the people is that we might want to consider when you apply for the non-citizen that you also get the card with it.
And
yes.
You get both?
Yeah, you have to get both. Okay.
Get both.
Yes.
That might be your driver's ID or whatever because of what it's saying, but we want it to say non-citizen on it.
Yeah.
National.
Or basically, yeah, it will be flagged somehow or other. Your number, when they run it into the system, will come up that you are a non-citizen, and basically you're not under the codes and regulations to have a driver's license, a dead man's license. So the only people who need to have driver's license are the living dead. Okay? I mean, to come up out of the grave and drive, you need to have a permission to operate above ground. One that's above ground living doesn't need to have a license. They have their full rights. But if you haven't dug yourself out of the grave yet, then you have to have permission to come out during the daylight.
Patrick?
Yeah.
It's Chris. Did I catch you saying that you want us to become a citizen by filing a DS-11?
You have to first claim your account. So you have to first file a DS-11 as a U.S. citizen, claim the account, then you can terminate the account by going and becoming a non-citizen national. Now see this, the people should have gotten their initial passport when they were underage. But see, people don't know the importance of that passport. okay? Until you've claimed your account first and then kill it off and then resurrect back into the living world as a non-citizen national, basically that other one is still going to be sitting in the grave. You haven't dug up your treasury yet. Follow me, Chris? Chris?
Yeah, I was muted out. I didn't want to make any noise in the background. I got what you've got to say. I'm going to have to think about that one. That's an interesting perspective you got going on there.
Well, it makes all the sense. Just think about it.
Yeah, it does.
Going to a regular bank, you do an application and you put money down with the application to set up a passbook savings account. Now, you cannot access that account until you give them a signature card.
So when you say utilize the passport on the 5504, would you be using the retired one when you finish up with the DS11?
No, you're taking, on the DS11, you have to get an initial U.S. citizen passport. So you have to give them the initial signature card so that now you can go into the bank and access your account and close it down. Pick up your money and move it over to another bank as a non-citizen national.
All right, I'll think about it. It sounds right.
Well, don't think about it too long because basically this is all, it's just standard banking.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to do the U.S. citizen passport, you're walking away from that one bank and leaving all your funds there and now trying to go over and set up another account at a different bank.
You mean by not doing the 5504?
By not doing a DS11 and claiming your initial bank account. You have to claim that bank account first, then you can move your bank account over to the national bank. You're coming out of the federal bank and picking up your assets in the federal bank, but you have to do it with a DS11 form and then close down, put your termination document in, and that would be in the process of saying, hey, you're going over to this other bank, to the national bank. You do the DS11 or the DS5504 form, and you surrender your account over to the other bank. They will go over and communicate with the other bank and transfer your funds over to this new bank.
So the lawful money then, you mean?
Don't worry about the lawful money. They just transfer your funds, okay? They'll get it converted, okay?
Yeah.
They'll make the conversion. That's what the damn adjusters, basically the custom, a clearinghouse, was to do, okay?
Mhm.
The appraisers and the adjusters, and that's all that International Court of Trade is. They're to probate the one account over to your new account.
Patrick, I'm going to read one line out of the passport here. It says lost or theft, and it tells you you're supposed to report it to the police or authority or the passport services. But the last sentence says your passport is a valuable citizenship and identification document. It should be carefully safeguarded.
Yes. And that's what I said earlier. It says valuable citizenship. Okay? And that means it has value. And it is a ship, a vessel, an account. Okay? So it has a value account attached to it. And then it has your identity. See, the Social Security has no identification markings on it, just your signature. Your certificate of live birth has no identification marks on it, but they use it in their dead world as identification because it's a dead document. Okay? And then also the DD-214. It has no identification marks on it. Nothing from the living on those. They're dead instruments. Okay? Now the passport, the U.S. citizen or citizenship passport, does have identification on it. It's got your picture. And it's the picture. Now that's the identification or the signature card for the federal treasury. The value is yours, just like the Social Security card. The value that is under that Social Security account number is yours. They only own the paper. You have to start learning to read between the lines in what they're saying on some of this stuff. And don't try and analyze it too damn much because that gets a lot of people in trouble. Trying to reanalyze something that basically is so damn simple. Want to make it as complicated as hell. I mean, that's the old mentality of America here is, hey, something that works, let's fuck with it so that it will make it not work.
Something like mating elephants, Patrick?
Yeah, you can tell him your elephant story.
Some processes are like elephants mating. It's done at a high level with a lot of moaning and groaning, and then it takes 2 years to produce something.
Okay. I think that's how long it takes the elephant to incubate, right?
Yep.
Right?
You got it.
I think it's 2 years or so for them to have their incubation.
I think this has been a 20-year process, though, for you, Patrick, right?
Well, it's, I mean, basically, if there was more people that really understood the Bible out here, that's the biggest problem, okay? People have tried to go out there and listen to all these ministers and everything that have been out there to deceive you into the whole misguided system of what the Bible is really saying, okay? They never looked at these things as being metaphors and basically do a comparison of the different metaphors because they're all, in a lot of cases, telling the same stories. So you have to look at the comparison between the metaphors, then you can start breaking the stories down and seeing what they're really saying. But the priests and the ministers out here, they don't have enough common sense to do that. Their only goal out there is to try and control their group of people so that they don't have to bust their butt. They live off of you. They're leeches. They're no better than all the damn attorneys and 90% of the government officials out here, they're all leeches. They couldn't do an honest day's work in their life. Then you've got all these enforcement agents running around that basically they think that they're really supporting this nation. I mean, their minds are so damn screwed up that it's ridiculous. And they're scared to death to go out and break away from their masters. Yeah, the ones that are afraid to break away from their masters, and basically that's a lot of your family members and everything else, they're afraid of the truth, and they will be your worst enemy out here, your most dangerous enemy. So you have to be prepared to just totally avoid them. Don't antagonize them. Okay? Because they're crazy. They're not there.
Because we have to do this on a stealth mission.
And that's why you need to sort of communicate back and forth on the group there, okay? That's your new family. Okay?
Patrick?
Yeah.
You mentioned on the no-fee passport that there was a title. Is there a statutory title? Somewhere you mentioned about a title for that being to be able to be a no-fee passport.
Well, basically, when you send it in as a non-citizen national, that would be a no-fee passport. You're coming in as a national. The government is obligated to give that to you as a national. Okay.
But you mentioned the title. I thought you said something that it was in
title. No, I was talking about the United States on there, and basically on that passport, I would think that you're coming in as a non-citizen national. The heading on that passport would have "the" in front of United States of America.
Right.
It would be just a small difference that most people wouldn't see. Yeah, I mean, how many people have really gone out and read the Articles of Confederation and know that the Articles of Confederation are still in effect? That's your treaty that everybody needs to be operating by. That's the treaty between basically setting up the nation, the land, and the people. Okay? Then the Constitution is basically a charter with we the people and the government. But the government can change, and it has. We've had 3 different governments in this country. And right now, the present one is the communist United States government, or the utopian, socialist utopian government for profit, to where they try and claim ownership of everything.
It's a dictatorship.
Well, it's not a dictatorship. It's just a utopian communist membership, okay, to where you all good little communists give everything to Mother Communism, who owns everything, claims ownership of everything, but really doesn't own everything. And then they turn around and give you privileges. They've taken your rights away and give you privileges. Now, the second form of government, the 14th Amendment government, for profit, did not take your rights away from you. Okay, you still have those, but they were operating for profit, and they were using the dead monetary system they brought in the postal monetary system at that point in time and started getting the people to deposit their money into postal savings accounts. And then the government would borrow against the postal savings accounts and pay them back some interest. But the government kept wanting to get bigger, and then basically they kept wanting to fight more and more wars, so that the war machine and basically the corporations could make more money, and so they needed to have more control over you, so basically they just sucked in more of your assets away from you.
Mm.
Yeah, under the utopian system. See, this is what Abraham Lincoln knew, that the utopia, socialist utopians, were on the march way back before Abraham Lincoln ever took office. But they really didn't start putting all their play into force until the late 1800s.
Mm.
See, this is the history that nobody really goes out and really checks out, okay? You don't have to do too much to see some of this stuff. You don't have to go into all the damn little details and everything in the process. You don't have to read all their damn stinking codes. But you can see it in the statutes. That's what you really need to look at. Stay away from those damn codes. Those will confuse the hell out of you. That's what they're there to designed to do. I mean, hell, just the agricultural codes out there, basically, I mean, it's ridiculous. The Code of Federal Regulations for nuclear power plants. I mean, there's about 12 volumes of different codes for the CFRs. That's not counting the U.S. codes. And then the state codes that they turn around and throw in there too. But you have to know how to read those codes. You have to know what the word should and shall and maybe mean. And basically 90% of the stuff is garbage. It doesn't have to be done when you know how to read the codes and stand up to them.
Patrick?
Go ahead.
When you were talking about the passport and a card, what is that card we are supposed to ask for? I don't remember hearing anything about that before.
It's on the form.
Oh, that's when you ask for it.
Yes, you get the passport book, okay, and then they also have a passport card.
I didn't ask
now,
for
the
that.
passport card cannot be used for international travel. It can only be used like for travel between the Caribbean Mexico, Canada, and something local in the local northern hemisphere. Okay? But it can't be used for going to France or anything like that.
I see. I didn't ask for the card. My passport's 5 years old.
On the DS11 or DS5504?
I didn't. My passport's 5 years old, so I didn't do any of this.
Okay, then basically you've got the U.S. citizen passport. Don't worry about it. When you do the DS5504 form and surrender that U.S. citizen passport, when you go for the non-citizen national passport now, with the DS5504, mark both of them. Say both up the top.
Okay.
Read the instructions on the forms. Okay? It's right there. I mean, these forms are not that complicated. A 2-year-old can do these. Probably better than most adults out here. Adults turn around and try and screw it up. Where a child, and basically that's how we were supposed to read the Bible, as a little child, so that we didn't screw it up. Because an adult tries to analyze every damn thing under the sun. Mr. Spock would have a heyday with 90% of the adults in this damn country. Because they're all operating illogically. They have no common sense. They have no logic. They're trying to operate under the same mentality as basically all the government officials are out here, mindless idiots. Or as one of the foreign national leaders there stated in basically about that we've got a fool for a president, but he said he's the president of a nation of fools, because the people in this country are all fools forever electing him to begin with. And he's right on. This country is full of a bunch of fools.
But that was all rigged anyhow. We don't have elections.
Yeah. It's a communist ploy, okay? They're trying to keep the facade out about that the government is still a per the original charter. It's not. It's a full new communist government. It's just like putting Khrushchev and everything in front of the Russia over there. He was just a front man. Okay, it was the Communist Popular Bureau that was really running the country. The men in the background that you don't see. And that's the same thing that's running this country right now. The communist membership that you do not see. And it ain't the Queen of England or anything like that. She's just a damn nitwit, just like the Pope is a nitwit. He's a front man.
Hey, Patrick, this is Steve. That self-evident, your self-evident remarks are really good, but the real good one to begin with, and I still think it's is real strong. Anyhow, is the card of Trover, the Colonel Mandel House's admissions is self-evident too, that they are conspiring to enslave us.
Yeah, and that's
that's classic.
Yeah, and that's the whole agenda all in one little document there. And see,
I reread
that's where,
it today.
Yeah, and that's when they started bringing in that U.S. Citizenship under the Shipping Act of 1916, and then under the Shipping Code, okay, the Modified Shipping Code, Title 46. And I put that out a year or two ago, basically going over everything on Title 46. Said, here it is. It's all in shipping. Well, what do they give you? A citizenship that has cargo, valuable cargo, an account. And you have to move that account out of the federal treasury bank over to the national treasury bank. It's like you going down to Ma and Pa Bank, moving your accounts out of that bank or another bank, and you can do a transfer in the process, a wire transfer to do that. And basically that's all we're doing with the Form 5504 form when we surrender the citizenship passport for the federal bank and trying to come over onto the other side with the national bank as a non-citizen national. It's all about banking. Simple. Don't read anything more into it. You'll screw it up. Okay, any other comments? I mean, you could throw comments out here. Oh, well, I listened to this guru over here, and basically he's off on this tangent, and I think we ought to follow him. Go ahead and say it.
No, we're past that stuff.
Yeah, get away from those damn YouTube videos and all that garbage because it'll screw your mind up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to listen to the recording. I know you had something important to say about the passport and something about getting it. I guess you're saying you have to open it up as a U.S. resident and then change it to an American national so that you can claim.
No, you have to open up as a U.S. citizen, okay?
Yeah.
A citizen, okay? You have to get your citizenship. You have to claim your vessel, your citizenship.
Yeah, I'll listen to the recording.
Yeah, until you claim your citizenship, okay, you're going to abandon it, okay? And you don't want to abandon your citizenship because it's got valuable cargo on it. I mean, that's like taking your car out. You just bought a brand new Mercedes, and basically you take it down downtown and you walk away from it. Leave the keys in it and just walk away. Now, you ought to be locked up and put in an insane asylum. If that's what you want to do. Okay? And that's the way half these damn patriots out here, they're crazy. They belong in the nuts.
Somebody rented a rental car over at the San Francisco International Airport probably 10 years ago. He opened the trunk and there was millions of dollars in there. Instead of keeping his mouth shut, he turned it in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a jackass.
Yeah. I mean, basically, yeah, keep your mouth shut. See if the feds show up. Basically, it was probably a sting or something like that. And the wrong car got put in the wrong pile. Now, the guy probably could have gotten, as soon as he got it out of there, then he probably would have had a bunch of drug people come down upon him because you never know who's monitoring those cars, especially around L.A. I mean, there's so much of that stuff going on right in the open that you never know.
Well, it happened at the same time a Learjet exploded on takeoff, and I think somebody grabbed the wrong briefcase, or somebody gave somebody else the wrong briefcase, you know?
Yeah. Now, there was some probably pissed off people that the money ended up in the wrong place, and basically there was paybacks going on there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the movies that basically tell you a lot of this stuff to make you sort of prepared for these other guys out here that are operating in the drug trafficking and everything else.
Yeah, probably one of the guys that was on that jet that exploded was the guy that rented that car. Was left his briefcase in there on purpose. Something, I don't know. It just sounds strange.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions about this?
Just one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We send this non-citizenship passport, or this 5504, into Philadelphia address, the same that we did the SS4?
No, it's on the instructions for that DS5504. It goes to the National Passport Processing Center, and just send it to the one address, not to, see, there's two addresses there for that center. One is for expedited passport, and I wouldn't use when I just send it into the normal one, okay?
Okay.
Since you're going for a non-fee passport.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and see, basically, what other passport would have a non-fee? The only one that I could think of, it talks about 3 different types of passports there. Diplomat, and I forget what the other one is, and then it says non-fee. Well, the only one that I could think that would be a non-fee would be an American national. One who is born of the nation. And basically it's now an obligation of the nation to give us that identification. Because the people are the masters. You don't charge the master. Right?
Right.
Come on, let's have an amen. Come on.
Amen.
Be like all those religious ministers. How about an amen?
Hallelujah, brother. Amen.
Yeah. Come on. You guys are sort of like a dead lump out there. I mean, show a little life. I mean, otherwise, yeah, you might as well just stay as citizens if you don't want to show any life.
Amen.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or anything?
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, we'll talk to you down the road there.
Okay.
Keep posted if I hear anything out of either the international court or out of my passport, and hopefully they get something going in the next day or so.
That'd be great.
Pat?
Yeah.
I did email Roger on his site to see if he could send me any information of what the passport looks like for the non-citizen. He hasn't replied that I know. If I do get something, I'll let the group know, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Again, thank you for all your dedication and persistence on this, Patrick.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
You might, if you're in communication with him, you might get him to understand the rest of it, because he doesn't fully understand the true importance of that passport, what it's all about. And see,
well, he hasn't responded.
Yeah.
Right, he hasn't responded yet. I'll see if he will respond to the email. I thought, well, I'll put it out there.
Yeah, and see whether he basically even picked up his citizenship account.
Right.
Yeah. Because if he did this right, he should have gotten all of his funds out of the federal bank and moved them over to the national bank.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, it will.
Okay, you guys
Amen.
take care. Okay.
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 Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you guys later. Take care.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello? Yeah.